Other reports at this time, in its quest to decongest the overburdened seaports in Lagos, the federal government is perfecting arrangements for full operations to begin at the Onitsha River Port from the first quarter of next year. This is as the National Inland Waterways Authority recently commenced a trial movement of containers from Onne to Onitsha River and would in the next couple of weeks commence another trial movement of containers from Lagos to Onitsha River Port.
Who said Anambra cannot have a seaport? For years, this question has fueled debate. Is it really possible for Anambra State, located inland, to host a functional port where goods can be received and transported with relative ease, just as is done in coastal states like Lagos or Rivers? Surprisingly to many, the idea of a port facility in Anambra isn't far-fetched. In fact, experts and government stakeholders believe that with proper planning, dredging, and political will, Anambra can become a major trade and maritime hub in the southeast. Good day and welcome to Ebony People TV. I am IkeAfrica, your host for today's special report. Anambra State lies along the banks of the River Niger, which has long served as a route for water transportation and trade dating back to pre-colonial times. The Onitsha River Port, originally constructed in the early 1980s, was envisioned as an inland port capable of receiving cargo from vessels navigating the lower River Niger. However, due to inconsistent dredging, lack of funding, and policy discontinuities, it never reached its full operational capacity. For decades, the federal government floated plans to dredge the lower River Niger. According to various newspaper reports in the past, the project was aimed at allowing medium-sized cargo barges to navigate all the way to Onitsha and potentially other inland locations.
The federal government has concessioned the Onitsha port in Anambra State in southeast Nigeria. Speaking at the signing of the agreement between the federal government and the contractor, the Minister of State for Transport, Mrs. Gbemisola Saraki, says the concession is for 30 years and the contractor will invest 4 billion naira on the seaport. The concessionaire is expected to manage the facility, which was established over 30 years ago under a rehabilitate, operate and transfer arrangement. According to the ministry, the port is equipped to deal with general cargo such as containers, bulk cargo and other packaged freight. Now, the port has a land area of over 12 hectares. Now, the port was built under the administration of President Shehu Shagari in 1983, and since then it has been lying fallow and completely underutilized until 2012, when it was rehabilitated and commissioned by the former President Dr. Goodluck Jonathan.
I hope and believe that Onitsha Port will be the catalyst for the rest of the other ports to be concessioned. By having such river ports, even though the MD has eloquently put it, the benefits to this, the thing about it is that it not only does it bring about economic growth for the companies and for the area, it also literally creates employment, which is critical to our economy and also helps in the issue of unrest amongst the youth. The Ministry of Transportation will always be here to ensure to support. You are now, Onitsha Port is now our poster child, so to speak, and we hope that it will grow to the level and the point that we believe it should.
But a lot of people have questioned how realistic is the idea of having a functional port or a seaport-like operation in Anambra State. It's quite realistic. Although Anambra is not on the Atlantic coast, the Onitsha River Port is a strategic inland port. With proper dredging of the River Niger, we can have a navigable route for cargo barges from the Delta region straight into Anambra. Here is the outline of how goods could land in Anambra just like they do at seaports in Lagos or Port Harcourt. 1. Arrival at coastal port. Cargo ships from overseas dock at major coastal ports, Warri, Port Harcourt, or even Lagos. 2. Transfer of barges. Containers are loaded onto smaller vessels or barges suited for inland waterways. 3. River transport. These barges navigate the dredged sections of the River Niger to Onitsha. 4. Offloading at Onitsha River Port. Once at Onitsha, goods are offloaded. From there, they can be moved by road networks to Anambra, Ebonyi, and other neighboring states. This method will drastically reduce trucking distances from congested coastal ports, lower the cost of land transportation, and position Anambra and the wider southeast as logistic hubs. But to date, we are yet to see the full functioning of this project. In recent times, social media discussions have intensified around the possibility of a seaport or mini seaport in Anambra. These discussions often highlight the benefit of job creation, reduced cost of goods, and improved connectivity for the entire region. Citizens from Ebonyi, Enugu, Imo, and Abia State also expresses excitement, believing that a functioning inland port can equally serve this neighboring state, but there is still doubt about the full implementation. Despite the glaring potentials of this, challenges remain. They include 1. Dredging and maintenance costs. Continuous dredging of the River Niger is essential to keep it navigable. 2. Infrastructural deficit. Road network leading to and from the port need upgrading for heavy container traffic. 3. Policy continuity. Changes in government administrations can stall or alter project timelines. But with robust collaboration between the federal government, Anambra State government, and private investors, these obstacles can be surmounted. So who said Anambra cannot have a seaport? This has a clear answer. The possibility of a functional inland seaport, or at least a thriving river port, exists. We've seen evidence through historical plans, government initiative, expert opinions, and ongoing discussions on social media. The big takeaway: with consistent policy, political will, and the collective drive of local communities, Anambra can fully operationalize the Onitsha River Port, or even create additional port facilities that serve the entire southeastern region. At Ebonyi People TV, we believe in highlighting progress and collaborative development across southeastern states. We encourage stakeholders, federal government and state government, private investors, and local communities to continue the push. Let's keep the conversation alive on social media, in town halls, and in the corridors of power. Because with improved infrastructure and steadfast commitment, a functional seaport or inland port in Anambra is not just a dream. It's a realistic project that could bring unprecedented economic growth, job opportunities, and regional synergy to our beloved Southeast. Thank you for joining us on this special report. I'm IkeAfrica, signing off for Ebonyi People TV. Be sure to follow us on all our social media platforms and stay tuned for more insightful programs.